I don't know anything about business. Here I am starting my own business, and really, I don't know how a business operates. If we want to be real, if we want the real truth, there has to be some grind in the very beginning. And so I want you to take a step back and say, welcome to the Fuel Your Flow podcast. I am your host, Valerie Feghali, physical therapist turned software CEO and business coach for health and wellness coaches. We are going to be talking about all things health and business. They might be more closely related than you think. So let's go ahead and get into it. Welcome back to another episode of Fuel the Flow. If you've ever felt like I'm not enough or I'm so far behind in my business, then this is the right episode for you. You might not feel like you have the systems in place or a polished app or that you're growing as fast as you want to grow. And that's very normal, but it can be heavy on the heart. It can feel like a lot sometimes. And it can feel like, why is everybody else doing so well? And here I am kind of stuck in the mud. But the truth is that we all started with nothing. Unless you bought a business that was fully functioning with a large audience and a great reputation, then you're starting at zero. And we've all been there. Even the people that you admire and you want to structure your business similarly to and hope to grow to, they too likely started with nothing. It's easy to look at them and say, wow, they have all the right words to say. They know how to take an incredible, picture or reel, and they know what to do in order to get business, and they seem to really have it all together. But the truth is they likely started in the messy gap as well. Now, especially if you're in the health or wellness space, you might feel like, I don't know anything about business. Here I am starting my own business, and really, I don't know how a business operates. I felt very similarly when I first started my business. It's almost like I had no idea what I was getting into, which actually I think was an advantage, because being naive to some of the stuff that you're going to encounter in your business, if you knew all of that ahead of time, I wonder if I personally ever would have started. But the truth is, I didn't know what was coming, so I just had to figure it out along the way. And that's very possible. You just put one foot in front of the other and figure it out along the way. The first time that I heard, sales funnels and email marketing and business operations, I had no idea what people were talking about. Even the terminology confused me. I didn't know what they actually were referring to, let alone how it worked, why I should do it, and how I'm going to incorporate it into my own business. And so it's very normal in the beginning to feel like you're so far behind and that you have so far to go. And how is that ever going to happen? But the truth is that once you start that learning process, it opens up this whole new world to you, and it opens up a creativity that maybe you never even knew that you have. And once you start going with it, you'll realize that, okay, I'm trying to learn this one thing. Is this thing actually valuable for my business? And then you'll have to make that decision of whether or not to continue on with that or whether or not to go to the next source, because there are different ways to grow a business. And I think that's what a lot of new people forget, is that they get locked into one person or one coach, and they're trying to make their business work around what that coach is teaching. But the reality is that there's so many different ways that we can grow our business, and you have to find what's in alignment with how you want to grow and how you want to scale. Now, it might be a lot in the beginning, and I do think that there is a season and a phase where we really have to work hard. I am all about the work smarter versus work harder mentality, because once we build in those systems and those processes, we can absolutely take time off our plate, energy can grow, and we are working a lot smarter rather than working harder. However, in the beginning, when we're building those systems and we're building those operations, we are working hard, we're grinding, we are hustling a little bit. And I know that everyone's against the hustle mentality right now, but if we want to be real, if we want the real truth, there has to be some grind in the very beginning. And then also in seasons along your business. So I started doing this it's almost been 7 years now. And when I first started, it was a grind. I was working till 2 a.m. some days, and it was tough. Then I got into a phase where things were relatively steady, but then I shifted and I pivoted. I pivoted my niche. I pivoted what I was offering, my products. And I was then again in a season of grind. And then now again, I'm more in a season of flow. So things kind of come and go. It's going to be cycles. It's going to come in seasons. What you don't want to do is let the grind be the permanent, be the regular, be the every single day all year round. If that's happening, then you're going to burn out. But if you can take it in stride and say, okay, for the next 3 months, I'm really focusing. I've got my head down and this is what we're doing. We're going to make it happen. And then make sure that you schedule time to take a break after that so that you're not burning out. But going back to kind of this comparison trap and how we're getting stuck in this feeling of not enough and being so far behind. Well, part of it is that we are exposed to so much more information and content right now. So we are seeing what other businesses and, influencers are doing across the world. And we were never really meant to see that. We were meant to be within our local community. It's actually interesting. I was listening to a podcast that Mel Robbins was on the other day, and she was talking about how we weren't even ever meant to see ourselves, that, there weren't mirrors back in the day, many, many years ago. And so we were just meant to connect with other people, not so much to judge ourselves and be critical of ourselves. It is natural in that for the human body to judge others. And I don't mean that in a negative or bad way, but we're constantly making not assumptions, but judgments on other people, thinking, okay, is this somebody that I can relate to? Is this somebody that's going to be a resource for me? Is this somebody who's going to be a friend to me, right? We're always asking ourselves those questions in our head. And again, I don't mean that in a bad way, in a bad judgy way, but in a way that we are saying, okay, is this somebody that I want in my community? And what do I admire about them? Maybe what do I don't admire about them? We're always thinking that. And so when now we see ourselves so often, even on Zoom, actually recording this podcast right now, I can see myself in the screen, right? It's a terrible thing because when we see ourselves constantly, we're making those same judgments against ourselves. Is this person worthy? Is this person great? But we're much, much harsher on ourselves. It's someone that we have to see constantly in our best times but also in our worst times. And so making that constant judgment on ourselves when we're seeing other people who we were never meant to see, but they are doing it really, really well. And that's why they're grabbing our attention. Now we're comparing ourselves to that person who's 10, 20, 30 steps ahead of us. A lot of the stuff that you see on social media or on YouTube or online actually oftentimes isn't even produced by that particular person. They likely have an editor. They likely have somebody writing their scripts. They oftentimes have somebody telling them and directing them for exactly what to do. And we're comparing ourselves to that. And so I want you to take a step back and say, okay, is this reality? And how important is it that I become like that? Most likely, that's not even the ultimate goal. So you're comparing yourself likely to something that maybe you don't even want. And so take a step back and say, okay, why am I feeling this way about myself? Who am I comparing myself to? And does that really matter with my worthiness? And the answer is no. What's important to you? What goals are important to you that you reach, and why? Why are those goals so important to you? Whether that be in business or personal life or anything else. And so think about the reason that you're doing things rather than just kind of comparing yourself to what you see externally. We also oftentimes get stuck in the trap of when I reach XYZ, I will feel like this was all worth it, or I'll feel successful, or I'll feel loved, whatever that thing that we're chasing is. And it's usually emotion. It's not necessarily the number. The number is the external factor, but what we're chasing is the emotion when we get to that number or that thing. And oftentimes what happens is we reach it and then we don't feel the way that we expected to feel from it. And we end up reaching for the next thing. And it's always good to push our goals, to say, okay, we got this far. Now let's go ahead and let's see if we can get to the next step. I find that to be a very good thing. But the emotion that we're tying to it and the worthiness that we're tying to it should not be a set number or a set thing that we achieve, right? We should feel that we can be enough in the moment and still chase after our goals. Hey, sorry to interrupt, but if you are a health or wellness professional and you haven't yet checked out The Wellness Vault, you're missing out. The Wellness Vault is a content hub for coaches who create their own plans and programs for their clients, run workshops, create digital guides, and so much more. You can now do all of this in a fraction of the time so you can focus on your clients and grow your business faster than ever with more you time. The link to The Wellness Vault is in the show notes, so go sign up for your free trial today. And so I was meeting with my coach not too long ago, and one thing that he was talking to me about, we were talking about our vivid vision for the next 5 years. So, what it would mean to get to these certain goals that we have reached, and what my vision of my life and my business and all that looks like, and how I want to feel in that moment, and that is all very important to plan out. But also, I want to feel that I am allowed to feel that way and that I'm allowed to do the things that I want to do today rather than just waiting for 5 years from now. So when we take a step back and we evaluate, okay, this set number that we want to achieve, if let's say we want to replace our W-2 income this year with our business income. That's a goal for a lot of coaches is they want to go off on their own 100% in their business. They don't want to have to work a second job. And so let's say that that's the goal. Well, what would happen when you reach that goal? If you say, okay, well, what would happen is that then I would quit my job and I would spend all my energy on my business. Okay. Well, what if you just spent all of your energy on your business today? How would that make you feel, right? Is that really something that you want to do? Is that actually a goal worth chasing, right? And so, or a feeling worth chasing. I shouldn't say the goal. The goal might still be there, but the feeling might not be what you expect it to be. If you're going to quit your W-2 job and then spend all of your hours working in your business, how much has that really changed your life, right? So you want to think about, well, how can I kind of structure and achieve the feeling that I want to get from reaching that goal today? So if this means that I have more freedoms, for example, if me being able to go 100% in my business and quit my W-2 job means that I'm going to have more freedom of time, I'm going to have more freedom in my schedule. Is there a world in which you could start taking more of your vacation time now and get a little taste of that freedom? Is there a world in which you could adjust your schedule to get out a little bit earlier, right? There likely is, but sometimes we're too afraid to ask or we're too afraid to take that step in order to live the way that we want to live today. Also, this feeling of not enoughness, I so clearly remember that when I reached a certain point in my business, I said, wow. And I actually truly did feel like, okay, I kind of made it. I've done something here. I felt really proud of myself. But that feeling was so short because then I got into rooms with people who were doing twice, three times, four times as well as me in their business. And I then again felt like the intruder, right? I again felt like I was the person who was so far behind. And I enjoy going to these now because I see it for what it is. It's not that I'm so far behind. It's that I now get the opportunity to learn from people who are doing such incredible things. And I'm going to enjoy the journey that comes along with this. So getting into those rooms now for me isn't so much about feeling like, okay, I got to reach a certain goal and I'm going to use these people as resources to get to that goal, as much as it is to be like, wow, okay, what are they doing that's working? How can I learn from that? But how can I enjoy the phase that I'm in right now and the growth phase that I'm in right now? Because really, truly, it is a gift and it can be so fun. So enjoying that moment and knowing that, okay, you are not necessarily comparing yourself to those people, but you're looking to them for inspiration, to generate ideas and to see kind of what's working, not so much as oh, okay, I'm so far behind and I feel like an intruder in this group. The other beauty of being newer in the space or maybe not having a massive following or feeling like you're, on every stage in every podcast or whatever it is that you want to do, the beauty of still being a small business is that you get to provide your clients with more of you. And that's what people are truly desiring right now. And that's what they're lacking in their life is that human connection, the accountability, somebody to help them feel seen, somebody to care about them deeply. That's what people are craving more than anything right now. So if you don't have a massive following or a ton of customers that's overwhelming your schedule, this is actually your time to really learn about your audience, your clientele, to see what they need and to do your absolute best work. So there is a benefit of maybe not having this huge business yet. There's a benefit of being small and being able to connect on a human level with your people, with your customers. And so a lot of times coaches will tell me, well, I don't think I can charge this much because, I don't have 10 years of experience and all these, this huge following. The truth is that people just want that human connection. They want to feel like somebody's got their back and somebody's actually listening and understanding their problems and their desires. Not so much that you have this perfect course that they can go through. That's really not what people want. They want the result, and oftentimes the result comes from community, accountability, and connection. People are tired of perfection. You don't necessarily need to have this perfectly polished website, perfectly polished social media page in order for people to understand what it is you do and how you can help them. It's more about the messaging. So when you are speaking on whether it be your own podcast or whether it be your own social media page, or if it's just one-to-one interaction, or maybe in a group workshop, it could be live, it could be in person, it could be on Zoom, wherever it may be, that you are really showing that you understand what your client is going through. That's what they want to know from you. So again, they don't need to see this perfectly polished page or product. What they want to know is that, do you understand them? Are you clear on what it is that they are struggling with? And have you helped others or even yourself get results and get better? So if you have that personal story, stories can go so far. So if you've been through what your client is going through, talk about it. And talk about it in a way that they resonate with it. Not so much that now you are, again, 10 steps ahead because that creates the gap with them, but more that show the journey of the certain things that you implemented and how it was hard and how you overcame that and how you feel today. Show the transformation and demonstrate how you are the right person to help them, even if it's through your own personal journey. And then also, if you've had clients go through that journey, absolutely showcase that. See if you can get testimonials from your clients, because that can help to build that trust and connection. So I challenge you to really reclaim your power as a coach and truly understand that you are worthy and you are the right person to help your clients. If you're coming at it from a place of service, so it's not about you, it's not about the next person, it's really about the customer that you're working with and how you can help in order to move them in the right direction and help them reach their goals. So as long as you have that desire to truly help them and you can truly understand what it is that they are going through, and that just takes conversation, it takes empathy, it takes you asking questions to them. So the more you can ask, the more you can help them see and recognize their why, their desire, and their goals, the better off you're going to be. It's not so much about you having every answer and knowing every supplement they should take and what blood work they should go test, but it's more so you understanding what they truly want and what's holding them back. So if you can help them figure that out, because they have the answers. It's not always us that has the answers. It's most of the time your client that has the answers, but you have to help them uncover that and help them work through that. And if you're able to do that, you are absolutely enough, whether or not you've worked with hundreds of people or not. Even if you are just starting out, the point is that you are helping somebody overcome their problems and get a transformation or a result. So let's stop comparing ourselves to people who are 10 steps ahead of us and know that we have value in the space that we are coaching. I'll see you on the next one. I hope you enjoyed our conversation from today. Any links we discussed will be in the show notes below. Also, we would be incredibly grateful if you would leave us a 5-star review. This helps us keep the podcast going so that we can continue to provide value for all of you. I hope we see you on the next one.